Today we're going to look at one of the most surprising high-end collectibles I've ever unboxed. Why was it surprising? For you new people, my name is Mr. X. This is the Extreme channel. A big portion of this channel is looking at extreme collectibles, and this guy is no exception. This is by Prime One Studio. That's who manufactured this piece. This is Nosferatu Zodd in human form from Berserk. Recently, I got into Berserk because I liked a lot of their statues, so I ended up watching the 3-part series on Netflix, which everyone tells me that's the worst part, and I actually enjoyed it. So then I ended up getting manga, however you want to pronounce it. I ended up getting these books that I have to read backwards. At least backwards to me. In some parts of the world, that's how you read them. And I'm really excited because I just read the second one, which is where Zodd made his first appearance. And he went toe-to-toe with Guts. I actually have 2 different pieces from Guts. You can actually check those out in some reviews I'll pop up at the end. But before we dive deep into this guy, we're actually doing some statue giveaways. Check it out. We are going to hit 20,000 subscribers in 2020. To do that, we're giving away a statue every 2,500 subs. At 15,000 subs, the winner will get to choose between these 2 PCS Mortal Kombat statues. Make sure that you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, and you've hit that bell notification. Then stay tuned towards the end of this video to find out how to enter. So I was totally going to pass on this guy as I wasn't a huge fan of the statue. I didn't think it looked that great. And I'm going to tell you right now as a spoiler, boy was I wrong. I did, however, get the Sume Zodd piece after his transformation, this piece right here, because I liked him more as a creature like that. I was very tempted to get the Prime One Studios version of that, this right here, but that's going to cost about $3,500 with shipping. So not only am I excited because I'm actually reading about him and he's a real badass because I think Guts is awesome and he kicked Guts' ass, but this statue is just amazing. I think it's really underrated. I think this is, if you had to rate things in as far as statues that look way better in person, this is probably the #2 one I've ever seen. But let's dive into the extreme review and we're going to look at concept, paint, sculpt, design, all that good stuff. And as usual, we're going to start with concept. Now, he does have a number of switch outs, whether it's the collector's version or the exclusive version. This is the collector's version, but they all tell a very similar story. This base is crazy. There is so much going on. First, you have the brand of sacrifice at the front. They have this ornamental sub base like all the other pieces. I like the fact it matches the line. And like many of the other pieces, there are dead creatures and bodies all over the base, and tons of blood and intestine and guts and helmets and armor and swords. Kind of the theme with the Prime One Studios Berserk pieces. And this is really indicative of Zodd because he is never defeated. In fact, he's one of those guys that he can't even find a worthy opponent. He just kills and kills and kills. And as you start to move up Zodd, I like Zodd in human form because he looks creature-esque but human at the same time, very barbarian. Not only with the animal skins he's wearing, but the armor and his different weapons, and he's in a museum stance, and like I said, depending on the switch outs, a few different things with his hands and his portrait. You move up even further, you see his mass, how large he is. This is a 1/4 scale, so 4 times smaller than he'd be in real life, but it's still damn near 30 inches tall, which we'll measure it in a second. Portrait I have displayed here is more of his mean, evil, badass one, kind of my favorite, and I just love this embodiment of Zodd. In human form in the books, he doesn't look as scary as he does in this statue. So I like the fact they pulled it out of the book, they made it 3D, they put color to it, and he just looks phenomenal. I think the concept shows Zodd perfectly. The blood, the fact that he has so many enemies he's defeated, he looks badass. It ties to the fact that it looks like a character that's very, very old because he's hundreds and hundreds of years old. So I think the concept is a 5 out of 5. I think if you're going to make Zodd in human form, I think they knocked it out of the park on this piece. Now with design, we're going to talk about a lot of different things, but I think with this, first let's look at the unboxing and assembly of him. 2 very large boxes, and I bought it from Sideshow, so shipping was actually only 110 bucks. Here is the top of the art box, then I'll show you a few pictures of the side because it is pretty cool. Really shows how fierce Zodd is, how cool looking he is on these art boxes. Now on the bottom of one of the styrofoam pieces there was his kilt in a separate section. And then one box had his base, a few of the other pieces, and the other one was himself and parts of his body. They also had some brochures to buy more stuff, so sure, I'll do that. Here's the base, pretty large. Now the directions were actually really easy. You know, the brand of sacrifice always goes in the front. There was a horse head, and then you put together a lot of the arms that belong to the fallen soldiers, and one of them he actually smashed. That's the one I'm trying to insert now, having a little bit of trouble with, but you'll see that with the close-ups of the paint and sculpt. Zodd himself, body, fit in really well. Like I said, they did have directions, but I don't think they were really needed for this piece. A few other pieces on the side. This was, I believe, the helmet of one of the fallen soldiers. Took me a minute to figure out which direction it goes in. And then we also had a spear, a shield as well. You saw someone's arm, or you may not have seen it right there. Someone came in to talk to me while I was actually doing the unboxing at work. And a little bird goes on top of the shield. A few other pieces. Next time I'm going to get my turntable as I assemble it so I can kind of show you guys a little bit more clearer picture of the assembly process. A sword that goes in on the side. And then his sheath that holds his sword, we'll talk about during the switch outs. His left hand is automatically holding the axe. Then his right hand, you have a few different swords you can put in there. And then right here, I had trouble getting the axe into the hilt of it, so I actually had to remove it to get it done. And then the last step was, of course, assembling his portrait with his bearskin rug around his neck. Let's look at the switch outs really quick. On his left hand, you can have an axe with a little bit of blood, or guts and blood all together. Both are very cool, and it's very similar with the right arm. You have a sword with a little bit of blood, or another sword that's pointed in a little bit different direction with kind of guts and more blood on it. The exclusive actually has him holding a helmet. Now here's a portrait that comes with all of them. I don't like it too much. He's a little bit smug. Now you can display it without that bear skin rug I just showed, and I like it both with and without, and there isn't that bad of a seam line, so you can do this for any of the portraits. But here's my favorite portrait. Very fierce. You can see all of his different teeth. And then the exclusive also has a handle that will go in the sheath you'll see in a little bit, which my sheath I actually installed wrong. Design-wise, there's so much going on too. Whether it's things like, yes, he does have mixed media, we'll talk about a little bit in paint and sculpt, or yes, there are soldiers on the back that you would never see with tons of detail. And let's get size on this guy. He is huge.
Hey, that's what she said.
And I had some technical problems, so I've actually videotaped this 5 times. It's so bad. So I already know the dimensions, but I'm going to pretend to measure. So he's about 19 inches on the diameter and about 33 inches tall. Obviously, there are certain parts that stick out that add to that as well. So huge 1/4 scale figure, but he's a huge guy. I don't quite know how tall, but in the books he looks like he might be 7, 8, 9 feet or so. So I think the scale is accurate. So I think they did a lot of cool stuff with design, but how much room he takes up for a 1/4 scale is a negative in my opinion, even though it all looks badass and works well together. So I think the design's a 4 out of 5, not a perfect 5 out of 5, but a rail or a statue you'd really want, not quite a grail. For the paint and sculpt, we'll do some close-up video because there's so much to cover, but in short, it's pretty damn good. There's a few areas of opportunity we'll look at, but let's check it out. So I'm actually filming this part before I film the rest of the video, so if I say some things or repeat some things, I do apologize. But this is a magnificent piece with paint and sculpt. So right here at the bottom, there's so much going on. I like the decorative bases. It's very similar to the other guts pieces, our Berserk pieces. There's one right over here. Have that intricate line, and here you have some almost looks like maybe splash blood. It's more of an orange copper color, but maybe that's when the blood dried. So it's cool they do that with the brand of sacrifice on the front. Horse looks okay. I think there's a little bit of opportunity on the skin, not only with the sculpt but the paint. The armor on the horse is fantastic. One thing about the horse, it looks a little bigger than 1/4 scaled. A little bit bigger than like the Samurai XM Shogun, which is a huge piece. So the horse I'm not a huge fan of. I like it conceptually, but it's probably the weakest part of this piece with paint and sculpt. Let's look at the guts really quick. They did a phenomenal job. They're really good with blood and guts and makes it look real. Not that I, remember what this looks like. It's been a while. But that deep dark red color with the pink tones, intestines laying all over, almost look like pearl beads. And then you see the blood scattered throughout the entire piece. That really dark color, I really enjoy that when they make blood like that. You'll see some on Zodd that's not as dark. He has the crushed shoulder arm there. I like the attention to detail. The armor looks fantastic, not only on the horse here, the faded colors in it, but the dents, the chainmail underneath, look at that. And what's cool is this is like not even the main focal point of this piece, but it's done so well. Like here in the back, you won't even see this. The rock that it's all on, you can't see too much of it. It looks okay. Sculpt could have used a little bit more texture, a little more rocky-like substance. Looks a little bit plasticky, but not bad, and you don't really see much of it. The shield looks great. Looks like real cracked, faded wood. Look at this. Looks like rotting wood. The bird, could have gone without the bird. But fantastic job on the shield. So much cool stuff going on the base. But Zodd is more than impressive than that. His boots, faded, no blood on his boots, at least on this one. There is a little bit on this one, kind of hard to tell with the lighting I have in here. Then the mixed media, this fur is fantastic. It's not cheap feeling, it's not cheap looking, very thick. And while I'm not a fan of mixed media, it looks really good here. Really quick, the translucent skin on Zodd looks great. I like the fact it's not a normal flesh tone. You know, in the books, it's black and white, so it's hard to tell what he looks like. But they have that splattered light blood. You see some veinage going on. Same thing with his arms up here, except more so on the musculature. Really, really good job. Dirty fingernails. They just did an amazing job on this anatomy. And I'm not a big fan of translucent skin. It looks really good here. And even his leather type armor here looks like real leather, totally sculpted. These spikes, these silver spikes look great. His holster right here holding his sheath, very faded, cracked leather. I like how he looks not super old, but you can tell he's been around for a while, and that's evident on the weapons. Here you see some guts left on the blade. My favorite of the switch outs, and then blood all over the sword. Even the bandages on his wrist, check this out. It's wow. Some more blood on this blade and guts. And then we'll do a video of this portrait and then a few pictures of both. While this bear skin, you know, even with the claws here, covers up part of his portrait, it looks really cool. I can't decide if I'm going to display it with or without. Again, very nice material. His hair, they're both the same, really spiky. I think I have a few breakages, but they kind of mix in, so it's not a big deal. Very accurate, comic accurate. This is one of those pieces, the portrait looks 10 times better in real life. This is amazing. Kind of that elven-like portrait, but fierce, massive. This is my favorite portrait. All the wrinkles and lines, the jagged teeth, the deep red eyes. And then here we'll switch to some close-ups of both. So paint, like I said, a few areas to fix with the horse, the rocks here, some of the blood splatter, but still phenomenally done. Especially, I can't believe how much I like the translucent skin. It's a 4 out of 5 on the paint, in my opinion, on this piece. Really well done. Props to Prime 1 Studios on all the Berserk pieces. But the sculpt is even better. That's the cool thing. And I actually include the mixed media in the sculpt. This is really high end. I hate mixed media. I love it on this piece. So I think overall, all that is the sculpt, particularly a 5 out of 5. Well done, Prime 1 Studios. So value on this piece, he's a 1/4 scale piece. He retails over $1,000, I think like $1,050, $1,100. They made 500 of the collector's version, 350 the exclusive with those extra switch outs. And then shipping was the two boxes you saw, so I think it was like $110, $150. It was quite a bit, but nothing robbing the bank. But still, when you're paying $1,200, $1,300 for a 1/4 scale piece, that doesn't sit well with me. So I think the value is a 3 out of 5. And one could easily argue that this is high quality. I get that, and I get the materials cost a lot, but just overall, 3 out of 5. So overall, though, does this have the X factor? What does that mean? Is that a cumulative score? No. Is he a head turner? Do you love him when you walk in? So I have the Guts armor piece. I have the regular Guts 1/4 version, the bloody exclusive from Prime 1 Studios. I thought this would be my least favorite. This is my favorite of the three, and then I have a number of other ones coming in. This is really, really impressive, and I love all the different display options. To me, this is a 5 out of 5 statue. This is an X statue. Really, really impressive. And it's way more impressive in person. When I saw pictures and video, I wasn't digging him that much. That's why I thought he would be my least favorite. I have another piece like this that in person it just blows me away, and I think it's one of the best pieces ever. That's the ARP Clash of Powers. It's just like this, where you see it in person, pictures and videos don't do it justice. I think Zodd's the exact same way. Let me know in the comments if you can tell that, or if it just looks kind of like I thought it originally did. Because every time you comment, that increases your chances to win the statue. To win one of these Mortal Kombat statues, all you have to do is comment on a video. At 15,000 subscribers, I'm going to pick a random video and pick a random comment. That person will win the prize. They can choose between these two pieces. Also, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. But thanks for tuning in, guys. Again, I'm getting better and better with the office video stuff. I'm actually recording 3 videos today, or 8 since I had to do this one 5 times. But hit that Mr. X logo to subscribe to the channel and that bell notification for more content, or check out some of these other videos from Prime 1 Studios. Till tomorrow, take care.